He's just a bit of a machine, you know, you just can't kill him. And at that point, you're thinking, nice early game, but it didn't really do much.
Yeah, I think, are we looking a lot towards how Calumnia plays this game out? Because I think when you have so much priority over this Kassadin, it's almost tough to know what to do with it, right? Because you have so many options. You could roam, you could invade with your jungler, you can just hit plates into Kassadin. The world's really his oyster, and it's going to be up to him to get a lot done, I feel like, to really open this game up.
Sometimes too many options. Like
yeah,
option
exactly.
paralysis. Like, oh, wait, I've never had this many options before. What do I do? Where do I go? Oh, I'll just lane.
Yeah, it's like the what you eat for dinner dilemma, you know? There's too many choices.
Oh, dear. Well, here we go for the final game of the night. It's game number 5. Hellpigs up against SEM9 as they look to try and find a way to climb further up the ladder. SEM9, hot off the victory last night, searching for their second here in as many days. As for Hellpigs, they would love to tie up their record here and make sure that they are tied in 4th place.
Yeah, and YJY is actually disconnected from the game. But one thing I want to quickly highlight before it goes away is Kassadin has cloth armor, 4 potions, and he has 2 armor shards. So he's actually got all the way up to 46 armor at level 1, which is a very armored Kassadin. And wisely goes for the spellbook. You see a lot of Kassadins go for spellbook in the difficult range lanes because, well, 1, you kind of need it for the early game, but 2, it's quite difficult to stack Conqueror on so many range champs, at least for a lot of the early game. And we have seen that a lot in Korea. I think just like Spellbook Kassadin kind of becoming the standard.
Yeah.
And yeah, it'll be interesting. Can the cloth armor 4 potions get him through the early game? Possibly.
Imagine if you went one step further and was like, you know what, once upon a time it was fleet footwork and I'm just going to try and, you know, baby sustain my way through that. But I feel like, yeah, as you say, the Unsealed Spellbook, obviously the Materializer as well to really make life easy for him, right? If you're getting zoned away from the wave, at least you can guarantee that cannon perhaps.
Yeah.
But it is, I mean, I always find it hilarious when you run it back. It feels very much like Season 1 League of Legends where you just had the, you know, the cloth pot start and you're thinking, you know, back in my day.
Yeah, I didn't actually play all the way back then. I started kind of playing really in like Season 4. But I have seen, you know, like, everyone's seen that Faker's debut game.
Yes.
And some of the item builds in that game are wild.
Egregious, hey? Yeah. No, I played in Season 1, Season 2, and then I stopped for a bit. And then came back many, many seasons later. But I did watch always the Worlds. That for me was always the highlight. Even if I didn't play the game actively, it's always been interesting watching the game, you know, continue to build. I will say, though, one thing that's always upset me about Riot is how they transitioned Graves from an AD carry into a jungler.
Yeah.
Bring back old Graves.
That is kind of a base take.
It's best. He's the best AD carry.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like New Graves is pretty fun too. They really just should have made another champ, you know?
They should have.
Yeah, because old Graves, oh my god, yeah, that was the sauce right there.
Yeah, it really was. So, I mean, that's me just having my little tangent whilst we wait to see what the pause is about here for the final game of the night. But, yeah, bit of a roughy matchup, right? I guess the highlight, really what we saw from the drafting phase is that this is going to be a terrifying matchup. You're going to get punished. It should be expected, right? If you pick a Kassadin behind, that a Tristana or something along those lines is going to come out to try and make sure your life is a bit of a misery. But SEM9 having struggled, you know, typically in the early game, can they actually win the early game? Can they actually, you know, utilize a comp built to do just that?
Yeah, and I've heard apparently this is a ping issue, which has caused the pause. And S9, I believe some of their players play remotely, as you can see here. So not in the studio. These things do happen. Hopefully that will get sorted. There's nothing worse than lag in League of Legends.
It's like the Oceanic Pause League.
Yeah, that's right.
I've traveled the world for the same outcome.
That happens. It wouldn't be League without pauses.
Do you know what I tell you? This is the best part about me living in Sydney is that I get anywhere between like 3 to 4 MS.
Ooh.
It is crazy. And then, you know, you really appreciate it having lived in New Zealand when you're getting like, what, anywhere 50, 70, sometimes 80.
Oh, that high? I get 29.
29?
Yeah.
In Auckland?
Yeah, in Auckland.
I think in Christchurch I was getting like at least 50. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's rough.
It's tough. It does be tough like that. So living in Sydney, and if I've ever like an issue where I miss a skill shot, I'm like, oh, ping diff, but then it doesn't work anymore, right? You just spam the number and people are like, are you living in Riot HQ?
I played last year a few games on NA on 200 ping, and I had my name as 200 ping mid, and there were some people who wouldn't believe me, and then, you know, I'd ping it after a play, and they weren't happy with me a lot of the time.
They would not want you to queue up again, but hey, if you start smurfing, it's just like, oh, the server's so free, and you just, you know, you give it back to them.
Yeah, and I mean, if I can play on a 200 ping, surely they can as well, right? We should be able to get out of the pause fairly soon.
What we really, really need is the technology to get so good that either we've got satellite connections or Elon Musk or whoever, right, has got the ability to make this happen. we've just got Ultra Giga Omega Fiber. Right?
Is that what they're going to call it?
Yeah, something along those lines. So good that the whole world is connected. Or, okay, if it's not going to be a case where we have a 0 ping worldwide, AI is going to be that effective that we can just scrim bots at the better than teams.
Ooh, scrim bots are better than teams.
That'd be kind of cool.
That's interesting.
That could be quite exciting. Looks like we might be back into the game. So our little tangent, a little side story about how life could be maybe in 25 years can take a pause, but the pause here looks like it's finished.
Yeah, and I think another thing I didn't see at first is Tristana's gone for the lethal tempo. So you've seen a lot of Tristanas move away from the Hail of Blades and from the PTA just for, much stronger scaling with the lethal tempo. And I think it's basically a given that you're going to win lane versus Cassian anyway, right? You don't really need any extra early game power.
Yeah.
And yeah, the scaling does feel very nice. Also, I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe Tristana goes Navori second now. And with, the extremely low cooldowns, I'm pretty sure you can have uptime on your Q at like near 90%, just because it gets so low. So it's a lot of attack speed.
Yeah, I think it's the same as the Sivir, right, with the constant uptime of the Ricochet. So it's kind of cool to see that, these builds have been opened up so much that, it's not a case of just defaulting to Infinity Edge as you would have done many moons ago. That a lot of these champions that are very much, spell-based can find value in that option as well. So let's see what happens. As we see all these lanes start to play out. I will ask, you mentioned the Halo Blades. Are you a fan of the Halo Blades? I see a lot of people petitioning saying remove it, delete that rune.
Oh, yeah. I always see Lemus complaining on Twitter about that one. He was, I'm sure who you're exactly thinking of, but I'm not sure. I mean, I don't play bot lane, so I never feel like it's that annoying. But, from the second-hand rage I've heard about it, I guess it's pretty bad.
Yeah, double Halo Blades in the bot lane would be certainly nightmare fuel, as we can see Rel here definitely finding a bit of fun with the snip action onto a rather weak early game Sion. It's only going to get worse.
Yeah. Lots of damage being dealt to these lanes, and we can see this, right? S9, they have the 3 pushing lanes, which is going to make Taco's Vi... It's a difficult situation to kind of navigate, right? Like, you just have wards in your entire jungle. It's difficult to just start buffs without assistance for it. It looks like he's managing to clean up pretty much everything. And Fear... Is he actually... There's no way he gives up his top side, right? No, I don't think so.
It looks like he's just going to cross map. Oh, no, not going to reveal himself through mid. Actually going to double back to go for the second Scuttle Crab. So, one apiece here for both sides. Yeah,
I think Fear probably knows there that if Taka invades with 3 lanes of no prio, he's a psycho. So that's just probably not going to happen. And actually, the Helpix bot lane is getting pretty low here, but Fear does not have the red buff. So I'm not sure if you can actually get something to happen, but it's spotted on a ward and pushes him away from the tower. Ooh, is recalling a vision.
Yeah, it's a dangerous recall. This is one that's going to delay tempo tenfold. Just playing with him now. But that does mean the wave is going to crash, and he might now just look to try and search for vengeance, but Takum is in the area here to try and answer back. Nice clone away. So that is just an illusion, but that's a guaranteed play only 4 minutes in.
Yeah, that was actually pretty nice from Fear. Did get the base stop, but managed to turn it into something good. Got both the heal and ignite out of Hellpig's bot lane. And we'll reset here. Taka was spotted out on ward in Hong 2, getting a lot of damage in this mid lane. But so far is like within touching distance of CS. Although a plate is about to die as well. Tago shows up, unfortunately, cannot get anything more. Actually, it's still staying in the area, so really committing to messing up S9's bot lane here. Ooh.
Oh, they've overextended. There's a flash. Oh, into the waiting arms of Taco. They've run out of damage, though, trying to stack it up. But, yeah, I mean, look at Tide and ICH is far too far behind.
Yeah, Taco in the area for so long. Does finally get something, though, but it only carries his flash. I feel like if you can't punish that again, it honestly doesn't matter too much in the range versus range matchup. But perhaps can look to go bot again when he has that level 6. And the mid matchup, Kassim, yeah, gets the tier as well as the Catalyst components. I've seen some Kassims in this matchup just rush the Catalyst and decide to buy the tier slightly later. So interesting that he doesn't go for that, but, you know, big jobs.
What do you think of that? Are you a bigger fan of getting the tier right then and now, or just the Catalyst level buff?
I feel like you should still definitely pick up tier before Rod of Ages, I think. But just buying the Catalyst component does feel very good. At the same time, like if you don't need it necessarily to survive, stacking the tier early does feel really good. Just making sure you can kind of get your mana, skirmish a little bit earlier.
Guess it's all down to your confidence in managing this lane, right? Yeah, sure.
Now, Dragon is up and available, but I think Hellpigs are pretty much just going to have to give this one up. They really just don't have the early game strong enough to contest it.
Yeah, it would seem criminal if they find a way to try and contest this one, or if S9 even allow it. But shouldn't be the case. You can see the minimap, and once again, every lane is pushing against them, so S9 can do as they please. They can roam top, they can roam bot, they can find what they're after. Starts here at the 7-minute mark with a Dragon, which is going to be Notion 1 removed from the equation. And potentially have a Herald to look forward to in the next 60 seconds.
Yes, S9, they should be expecting to pick up pretty much everything from this early game. I'm actually surprised the mid lane lead is not bigger. It's only a tiny CS lead and only one play. So Columbia hasn't actually achieved as much as we would have thought. Because I feel like once Casson hits level 6, it's, you know, you can still be pressured, but it's really out of that kind of danger zone. Potentially, Taco is in the area top.
And he's so close to level 6. He just needs a minute or two, but no camp found. It's going to respawn now, but he's already in the process of recalling back to base. Would have potentially looked to love to have looked for a fight with ultimate in hand, but not going to be afforded that luxury. Back to base he goes.
Yeah, and Columbia actually just going for the reset very early. I think it's kind of questionable. I think you want to be forcing Casson to base first, although perhaps can just come back stronger and make sure that he can fight this Herald. Looks like that is going to be what he goes for.
Yeah, boots, Noon Quiver, as well as a pickaxe, so a lot of damage if you can get on top of him, right? You saw what it did before with a fully stacked explosive shot, so hoping to see more of that on repeat to make sure that Hong2 doesn't have the furious ride into the late game, currently level 8, so everyone can get excited by setting their watches to see when level 16 arrives.
Yeah, and S9, like, I mean, they've done a good job of taking the drags, but I'm surprised they haven't built up a bit more of a lead. You haven't seen really any mid or jungle punishment, you know, which is really what you'd expect with the 3 winning lanes. Although it looks like they should pick up the Herald here, but it's not a Herald for free. You are losing stuff, you know, quite a lot, actually, bot lane. A Cannon Wave will be lost here, it looks like, as well as this plate. Actually, I think the Cannon Wave is going to get picked up, because it looks like Taco moved away. So it's decent. Decent overall. Now, with this Herald, I think this should go mid eventually. Like, clearly mid's going to be the one getting most damage on the tower. I guess you could put it bot with the Varus Karma lane. But I think really opening up the game for your Tristana is very important. I think that's a champ where, like, if you're really good at Tristana, you can play it from, like, an even game state.
Yeah.
But if you're not, you know, a superstar at Tristana, you kind of do need it to be accelerated.
Yeah, and if it's not a kill, sure you want the gold to then try and just, you know, bunny hop all over the map and, you know, find kills and influence the game as a whole for sure. So I wouldn't put it past them for Fear just to, you know, pop his head into the mid lane and see what they can find and, you know, continue to keep Hong2 behind. But we'll have to wait and see when they decide to find that moment because, I mean, it's just going to continue to passively push into Hong2.
Yeah, and I think if Fear can come mid as well, will give Columbia kind of the confidence to actually hit that tower just a little bit more. Has gone down to 3 plates. So yeah, definitely possibility to Herald and just take it with the Tristana.
I'm wondering if they try to time it quite nicely, or if they see Vi trying to make a play elsewhere, if you know, Fear's in the area, then they can look to just quickly snap straight into the mid lane and you know, snipe that turret away whilst plates are all still up and available.
Yeah, they should be able to use this mid and bot priority to look for control in the river. IC8, don't think he's under... Oh, okay, potentially under threat.
Yeah, could be in trouble, absolutely. Rocket jump in, but has a shield. There's the Whimsy, and that's the movement speed to try and counteract any kind of mobility to catch after you. So, a flash is burnt, but that's about it.
Yeah, and Columbia continues just to push in that mid wave, and actually Taco could be in trouble here. Does just queue away, but this is good control. I think this pushes the Vi away from mid and should allow you to Herald if you want, although perhaps eyes on bot lane instead.
Oh, what's happened top here? That's going to force out the drive away. Oh, just going to drift himself to safety as the needlework was definitely in execute range.
Yeah. Columbia Hongchu's in base, probably will TP back mid or is more likely to lose stuff. Sophia, actually, I think it is going to be, playing for the gank and Herald bot is showing now. So yeah, the Herald does go down. I'm surprised this doesn't go down mid, but perhaps feel like the gold is better used onto the bot side here. Looks like it is going to be a few plates taken without too much trouble.
Yep, gone for 3. And I guess it just goes back to an age-old question, right? If you're feeling like you're just winning that matchup so easily as it is, do you need to summon it there? And I think it's always one of those ones where you're going to have different opinions from different players that you ask. But in this case, they've said we need to triage this bot lane and we need to make sure that this Varus stays ahead, as opposed to making sure that this Tristana just, removes Kassadin from the game.
Yeah, it just feels like that hasn't happened at all. I mean, Kassadin's hit the Rod of Ages at a pretty good timing, and it's actually up a single CS over the Tristana, which...
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, if the fact that you can just blind pick Kassadin and get away with that, it's kind of insane to me. Wow, Fia's just...
He's just faking the clone, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Columbia, I feel like, has not got enough done in this lane to really justify it. Now, it's not like Triss scales badly. Anyway, in fact, Triss scales pretty well as well. So, it's not the worst, but I feel like given that the blind pick Kassadin is, a very risky pick, definitely did not get punished.
And this is why you expected this to be the kind of pick, the kind of pick matchup. You expected to see, not necessarily a kill, but at least some semblance of a major CS gap, not just, the turret plates in isolation, right? So, hoping to see a little bit more, because as it stands, only 13 minutes in, it's going to be S9 up by 600 gold. Certainly enough to feel, as a Hell Pigs player, that, well, this game is certainly going according to plan.
Yeah, and I think the one saving grace, I guess, here for S9's comp is they do have 2 drags, and if they can continue to stack these up, it's very good. I think the 3rd and 4th drag really forced scaling composition to kind of, leave their base, stop farming, and actually contest the fight. But if they lose another dragon fight, it could be a very rough situation for them.
Let's see what they do here, if they can go in for a cheeky invade. Oh, is the leash going to break? He's holding on for dear life right now. He's more interested actually in clearing the vision, as the threat switches across to Fia, but everybody's in the area. Everyone wants a piece of the pie. They all want the red buff.
Who even got it there? I think it was Fia that picked it up in the end. That's kind of nice. You win the smite fight. A little bit of confidence. In top lane, Sion, I think, gets very tanky very quickly. I always feel like when you versus champion solo queue, has an unreasonable amount of health extremely early into the game. He does quite a lot of damage as well. Yell's committed.
Yeah, but he's going straight in. The immune circle gets dropped, and the drift comes to an end. Oh, there's the flash! That's the assault and battery! And that all just happened out of nowhere. You figured it's a slow build-up, and then Taco comes in and executes.
Yeah, wow, I'm actually surprised that they managed to kill her there. I felt like she was out just with the ghost, but, Taco really knowing the Sion Q limit there. Ooh. Taco could be in trouble.
Oh no, not the support Karma. Oh, he's just emoted him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tragedy. Don't tell me that the Karma gets a double kill. Surely not.
I don't know if she can kill him. Yeah, I think it takes him a bit too long. Taco's just too tanky there. But yeah, Kara's manages to snipe one off the back end, which is a nice pickup. Actually, also delaying Taco's base there is pretty important, because that means that Relia is going to be able to take some plates at the back end of this.
And really well done, right, for Keras to actually make that play towards topside to roam to find that. But, I mean, it all starts here originally with Rel here just jumping on in, copping a bunch of damage, and even though they spot the gank ages away, still managed to make it work.
Yeah, I actually can't believe that they managed to close just this much distance, and the Sion Q hitbox is a little forgiving. I will say generous, perhaps, is the word. But yeah, they managed to get him, and it looks like S9, they are going to grab the Herald, though.
The thing for me, though, is the amount of distance covered. We talk about a Lucian Nami being able to delete you halfway across the screen with a maxed-out Q charge into a flash ult. I mean, you've literally gone from Brush and River to their tower.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's pretty insane. Now, this tower should die to a Herald mid if they choose to use that. At the same time, though, I think Hellpigs, they're already at a position where they can look to fight if they want. And I think they should. This dragon in a minute 45, I don't think you want to give S9 the 3rd dragon. That's when it can really start to get scary and really means that, if you give over that 3rd dragon, you can't really afford to make any mistakes again.
Yeah.
Really don't want to give that soul over. And it's always interesting, right? The trade of dragons sort of suck for early game, but they're great late game. Do you want to just try and get heralds early, try and snowball the lanes, and give up those drags at the cost of that? And I think, as you were saying before, you could get a very different answer depending on who you talk to, right? Based on their play style, their champions, and stuff like that. But here, Hellpigs, I think, correct to give up the first 2 drags with such a scaling comp, but now are going to be forced to fight.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they approach this third fight, because you do have Mythics coming across the board for the majority of them now. Obviously, you got the anti-heal on Taco as well, having gone back to base. Sitting on Tabby's 2, so going to feel fairly strong into a bit of an AD-heavy composition, well, at least a lot of auto-attack damage, to say the least. But they need to weather the storm a little bit more. First of all, need to gain control of the mid lane, which is not going to be easy, given that Shelly has been summoned and destroyed what is now S9's 3rd turret of the game. So all tier 1s have been removed, and they're trying to build this gold lead up to be a little bit bigger than what was a very fragile 1k lead earlier.
Yeah, so lead is starting to snowball. S9, though, they have great control over this dragon. 20 more seconds, and I think Hellpigs, they want to fight. They're definitely positioning to do so, but face checking into this is very scary. I see he takes a little bit of damage. Nothing to write home about. 10 more seconds, and are Hellpigs just going to give this up? I feel like they shouldn't, but at the same time, maybe they have to. It's just very difficult to actually regain the control.
Yeah, if they're not feeling confident about this one, then they buy themselves an extra 5 minutes and say, well, if it's not this one, then it absolutely no ifs, buts, or maybes has to be the next one. Let's see what they do, though, because as it stands, it's Taco popping his head in from the bottom side of the river. No vision on it.
TP
Charging it up, looking to go for the kill instead. The dragon completely forgotten about. Who turns their back around to try and snipe this one? They're not. Karma has removed Taco. Vi's not there. Smite doesn't exist. The Featherstorm comes down. Can they rip it back? Oh, it's 57. 57 health, and it reset. Unbelievable there. Hellpig is going to feel absolutely beside themselves. But it continues. Hong 2 receives the wild growth. Care is very low. Taco soaking it up as a tanky Scion can. Hong 2 flirting with danger, but a blue orb reveals instantly. Rift walks away. E40 at an angle, but ultimately is not interested anymore.
Yeah, the health bar is so low on both sides from the end of that. But I think Hellpigs, they got what they wanted, right? They got not only a kill, but they also got the dragon, which allows them just to continue scaling. And I think I'd like to see a replay of that, because I felt like Hong 2 really struggled to find impact at the start of that fight. Normally when you're playing Casson, you're expecting to, find a flank, really try and get access to their backline, but just never was able to actually, get into that. So hopefully we'll see that in just a moment. But I think, Hellpigs, I think should feel really good about that. But let's have a look at the replay. So Hong 2, he starts off without a flank, and I think if you just pay attention to him, despite the rest of the engage being quite good, the Varus ult here just buys so much time, and Hong 2, I think, should probably go over the wall, but instead just ends up kind of CCing himself off the back end, and then, the rest of the fight, the health bars are blinking across the board.
20!
On the reset, yeah.
Oh my.
So low. And Sion actually queued to steal it. It had a Tristana bomb on it. But that was extremely close, right? Just a couple things going minutely different. Could be the difference between, a few more kills and the 3rd dragon picked up. So S9, I feel like it's not bad, right? But it's not what they wanted either.
You can see Hong 2 there. Obviously, being on the Kimtech map, the blast cone just sends you halfway across the world, doesn't it? Right? So you're thinking, hang on a minute, I didn't really want to be in this position, but there is a reflection of what that fight all did look like. You complimented the Varus before, and for good reason too.
Yeah, he actually popped off, but have a look at the junglers. It might be because this was taken later in the fight, after they'd already kind of died and not really committed a whole lot. But yeah, that really shows who the carries are here, right? Definitely these big ADCs and mid laners. Now, with that 3rd drag taken away from S9, will Hellpigs just use this time to scale up, or will they actually look for something? I feel like you just scale up, you get your 2nd item here on the Kassadin and the Xayah, and then in 2 more minutes, I think you're ready to fight, and this time, it should be a lot more in your favor.
For sure, you're going to be absolutely ecstatic that this game has been so quiet with only 4 kills in what has been 20 minutes as well, that the gold lead is basically dead even in a comp where you've had 3 losing lanes and a jungler that's saying, guys, I can't help everywhere at once. To be in a position like this, you're going to be very happy. Not to mention the fact is that your kills for S9 are all on your support Karma.
Yeah, she didn't even really notice that. It's kind of unfortunate. I wonder if Hellpigs would go for a draft like this against a higher tier team, or if it's just, you know, they feel that S9 have like too weak in early game, they can't really punish all the greedy scaling. I'm a big fan of drafting for the player or drafting for the team, you know. I think teams play out very differently, so knowing how to kind of gain advantages over them is important. Now 1 minute 30 on this dragon, everyone's kind of grouped very early.
Yeah, on the hunt, Shrelius was active right there. Teva connects on to the Scion, so Tarkus just going to shrug that one off, saying, I'm not the target you're looking for. They just toggled the XP, actually, as we can see that Rod of Ages is now at the magical 10 stacks, which means Hong 2 is at level 15. So don't expect him to group up with the team anytime soon. He's going to be firing up an absolute treat and then doing really what we all love to look forward to.
Yeah, he's actually very close to 16. I wonder if they'll try and make a push for him to farm it before the fight starts. It's funny how Hong 2 is a full level above his opponent, and those are the top 2 most leveled in the game, right? He's massively far ahead compared to the others. Might actually look to put some pressure on up here, but no, instead goes for the reset. Oh, cancels it. Dragon's in 45 seconds, so you don't have much time to kind of get back on the map if you don't base now, so might just be committing to staying.
It's one of those dilemmas, though, isn't it? Where you're like, I need to get 16, but we have to play for the dragon. But I really want to make sure that if we do go for the dragon, I've got that power spike there. So let's see how they try and navigate this one, because S9 are going to say, well, let's clear up the vision. Nice ward has not been spotted. They know that Baron has not been snuck in there.
Ooh, Tarkin perhaps in a bit of trouble.
Oh, Tide forced to bend the Featherstorm nice and early. Thankfully, gets to hang on to both summoners as well as the Gale Force, but ult being down could be a bit of an issue.
The Baron's actually started up, and this ward is doing some insane work here. It's going to tell Hellpigs all the info they need to know. And I think starting this is perhaps a bit greedy. I mean, it's getting very low, but Hellpigs, I think they probably win out in this scenario.
And I don't know if Hellpigs are ever interested in even fighting. They just need to show face, and that's enough to try and turn them away. S9 need to pull the trigger, and that's what they'll do. Hong 2 on the sides, trying to bait them away, and he's done so successfully. They're in a choke spot. That's Calumnia just running for the hills. In he goes. He can't get it with the breath. Has to go golden. Explosive shot is going to explode, but a shield on his head is going to protect him for the meantime. Everybody is bleeding. But the bait of a Baron just too juicy to pass up.
Yeah, Hellpigs, they almost come away with some more kills there. And I think Hong 2 once again sort of mis-executes, tries to greed too hard for Calumnia and lets the other members kind of get out. But ultimately, this still is a big win, I think, for Hellpigs. They should be able to pick up this dragon. Also, Hong 2 is going to TP back in. Full HP here. I don't think you can contest this as SEM9.
How do they get past the sign? He's the bodyguard. He's the one that doesn't let you into the club right now, and they're not passing. They're stuck. Stuck in mid lane, routed away from this one, and if you don't win a fight around the Baron, then it doesn't seem like it's going to be a case any different around the fourth spawning of the dragon. This should be enough to stabilize at 2 apiece now. And they are relegated just playing towards that mid lane. You can see the XP now only just hitting level 16. And maybe Hong 2 now feeling a little bit better about his chances.
Yeah, okay, so 2 dragons picked up. 16 on the Kassadin, the Navori on the Xayah. I think Hellpigs, they're well and truly scaled now, and it's going to be pretty difficult, I feel like, for S9 to win an even fight at this point. They're going to have to try and make a pick. Finding a pick on a taco doesn't seem very possible. He's got 4,000 health. Not going to be taken down anytime soon.
Yeah, either Taco in that position, given that the Fire was stepping up as well, right? So Calumnia was certainly asking for a little bit too much in that situation. But, I mean, I can understand why they tried to go for the Baron. Maybe a little bit of anxiety that, hey, level 15 is there. We need to try and do something. We need to literally try and draw him away from these lanes. But I'm sure both teams will be feeling grateful that not many more fell down as a result of it.
Yeah, I think this next fight is going to be really interesting. It's really going to be a tell for me. Have Hellpigs scaled to the point where they just wipe S9 and there's not really any contest at all? Or are S9 still close enough in this game that they can put up fair fight, because I think if S9 can win a fight, they can snowball pretty hard off it, right? They have good Baron DPS, good Siege as well. Ooh, the Parasol does, just not quite hit the mark. And another Dragon 3 minutes. I'd be surprised if both teams want to just AFK and scale now. I think both teams want to fight.
Oh, we're in! Straight from downtown into mid, knock him up and take him down. Calumnia didn't even get a chance to play the video game. Here we go, looking for more. Snip, snip, and a shutdown is found. Tide is dead. Burnt literally everything, and it wasn't enough. But the Castellan remains supreme and is there to close out that team fight.
Yeah, I think Rally on the Gwen actually put in a lot of work in that team fight. It's something like 3,000 damage, which is probably all onto Tide. But unfortunately, they do lose out, and I think the game's kind of getting away from S9 at this point. They're starting to lose more and more, and it's becoming more and more difficult to win fights. It was also an insane Cyanol. It just goes up the entire river and connects on one of the carries. And the Tristana, I feel like, also has just really felt lackluster so far. Has not converted into anything noteworthy. But let's get a replay of that. So yeah, Taco, he starts the ult from way down the river, and I guess the CC comes in from the Vi here. Taco and Taco with the combo just actually one-shot him before the fight starts, and then yeah, the Xayah here. I mean, Tide, he honestly did a pretty good job, I feel like, at using his abilities, but the positioning maybe just wasn't quite there. Ended up in the middle of the team and was taken out. Dragon in 2 more minutes. Just
priority target assassination, really, wasn't it, for both teams there? Just laying down so much CC that you can pray that you can burn everything, but it wasn't enough. You managed to save 3k damage. It really was all about the Gwen. But, yeah, you don't really have a position to have a one-man army this late into a game. Yeah,
YJY and Calumnia are really just not dealing the damage that needs to be dealt there. And I think, the more fights that go like this, the stronger Hellpigs get. And now with Cassidy having the Zhonyas as well, feels really difficult to ever kill them. They're engaging again.
We're on. Oh, they found a target. It's not maybe who they want, but they'll take what they can get. Fear, dead, assault and battery across the wall. Calumnia, you can't kill me because I've got a Guardian Angel. So you proc that one. Featherstorm, rip them back. Oh, just at a range there. As the Gwen can eat some fruit and be okay.
Yeah, wow. I think that was actually nice driving from Taco off the side. He managed to curve the ult and ended up taking Fear out with him. With the jungler dead, I think Hellpigs can just pick this one up. S9, I think they might make some sort of attempt to contest. They're going to. I'm not sure they can, though. Ralhir does not have ult.
Hong's already burnt that smite, so it's all down to Taco right now to guarantee it, which he will do so successfully. And in they jump inside the sanctum of a Gwen's immunity ring. Hong 2 wants to do it, but realizes, oh, that snip hurts a fair bit. Calumnia sniping Lulu on the flank. They need to run away. They need to use these empowered Baron recalls, but it's not allowed. They're running them down one by one. Stragglers. Sheeps to slaughter.
TP comes in.
And Taco, as tanky as he is with 18 billion HP, eventually falls down.
Yeah, so Hellpigs on the back end, they didn't do a great job actually disengaging from that fight, and it is going to mean that they end up losing the Dragon here, I would think. But they still have Baron onto 2 members. So probably are going to be able to do something with it still. Especially, I think, keeping it on the Cassidy is pretty important. Does allow him to just go into that side lane. Although, both Taco and Hong 2 invested their TPs into kind of trying to salvage that fight at the end. And neither of them really mattered. So, honestly, I'd say pretty big win for S9 here.
Huge.
They're able to, deny some of the Barons, pick up that 3rd drag. Now they kind of have a win condition again. They potentially can just pick up this 4th drag. Let's take a look at the replay. So, I feel like Hellpigs, they should just get the Baron and then try leave. You can even just sacrifice your Scion here, and that can be it. Now, Hong 2, he makes a great engage here. But I think after this, you probably just need to leave. Now, I'm not sure Calumnia... Oh, I guess he killed Lulu with red buff, I think is what happened. And that allowed him to, come back around as the reset. And this is weird, we've got one member going out, the other coming in. And yeah, it just felt very, honestly, just not very disciplined from Hellpigs.
Yeah, I think there's disjointed comms as to really who had the idea of what they wanted to try and do in that situation. Some saying it's a winning fight, others saying, we need to get the hell out of Dodge here. But ultimately, that's the window back into the game. Well, once again, in a very much even game state. Dead even gold, same with the kills. and all about farming for these dragons. They're going to try and chase down a sign. It's never going to happen. He's just going to fast and furious his way out of there.
Yeah, now importantly, the Rabadon's actually completed by Relia. So that's really that's where your scaling is going to come from S9. And if Relia can have a big performance in the fights, potentially, could win even against this very fed Kassadin. And this bot tower is going to go down, so yeah, not much you can do about that with the Baron obviously coming through. I think Hongtu might have the Void Staff here. Yep, so the Void Staff is completed and now can do a lot more, although there's not a whole lot of MR. It's really just the MR on the Wukong, so interesting choice. 3 minutes left on this Dragon. That will be the 4th one for S9 if they can manage to pick it up. In this game, it's been slow, but at the same time, it's been very tense, I want to say. There's been a lot of moments of people trying to find engages or the fights leaving everyone on very low health.
Yeah. Certainly has been a prolonged occasion of when is the big moment. And we've had a few of those, and some have been explosive in terms of kills. Others have been warning shots, if you will, of many stragglers limping away out of action. But, it's going to boil to a breaking point where, a massive fight will close this one out, whether it is the Dragon Soul acquisition here for S9 or if it was to be a potential stall out in terms of we're going to an Elder Drake, perhaps. But respawn time is going to only just continue to get higher and higher as Hongtu now is completely maxed out, the only one in the game at level 18, and the only one with a massive 500 gold bounty.
Yeah, 2 more minutes on this. I feel like both teams does come down heavily to this fight. If Helpix manage to get it, S9's win condition will start to fade away. On the other hand, if S9 can pick this up, potentially can use it to really kind of actually close this game out. And I think for me, my eyes are really on Rel here. This fight is extremely fed on the Gwen, but has a very squishy build.
Yeah.
So, yeah, is he going to be able to survive? Going to require clever usage of the W. Actually, a lot of CS across the board. Everyone's been farming pretty well. He hit level 18 a fair while ago. Also has a lot of armor. You see here, 160 on the Kassadin. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, everybody's just picking up the tabbies. I mean, obviously the supports don't have that luxury, but 4 on the side here for Hellpigs. They just want to immune as much of that AA damage as possible, which makes a lot of sense. I do like the pickup there now is a few stopwatches on the side of S9. They know that they're gearing up for that potential next big fight, which could end the game. Both major objectives spawning up at a pretty synchronized timing. And it begs the question if we're going to have them actually meet at the same or look to try and rush one or the other.
Yeah, 1 more minute here. It's all going to come down to this. I really hope we don't just see the teams walking away from it. Relia almost caught out, but actually they just kind of walk past each other. 50 more seconds. It feels like Hellpigs have more control. They have the side lanes pushed. They have great bot side vision control at the moment. So it's going to be after S9 to kind of late contest this. They also might just decide to give the drag, but I feel like it would be a mistake. The way they're kind of playing right now suggests they might. Columbia has the TP. And they are moving members down. Okay, I think they are going to fight this, so most likely we'll contest the midwave first. There is potential for people to get caught here. Contesting this midwave is very important. That's why you always see people getting engaged on and dying on it.
Yeah, they're going to try and force that fight right now. They spotted out Hongtu isolated in the top side. They try to one-shot assassinate Tide. It's just not going to be enough. In comes the Scion. Wham bam, thank you, man. YJY cannot play the game, and he's already falling down because Calumnia is dead for a whole minute now, Shock. It just doesn't exist. Relia tries to do it all. Look at that damage. The rip back of the feathers. And that is a very squishy Gwen that can do so much damage but can't live long enough to deal it out. And, well, we're not fighting for an objective yet. We're fighting for mid lane control, but it is Hellpigs that are just jumping in it. Oh, the snipe from the Varus across the wall inside the Raptor camp. You love to see that. Targo jumps in. Copsa Teva just breaks it by running away. And this is prolonged, but this is spicy.
Yeah, what an insane back and forth. I mean, Gwen did so much damage, and also I'm not sure how Hongtu just, got quick scoped over the wall. I'm not sure if there was any vision on it or if that was just, a blind guess, but yeah, pretty nice. And I think the Dragon might actually end up going over to S9 here, which is kind of insane, given that they're the ones with 2 members dead. And I think Hellpigs, they probably just should have, sent Hong2 to reset, send Taco to TP back to base. I actually can't believe they managed to get the Chemtech drag out of this. Huge win for S9.
Absolutely huge, to say the least. That ties it up to Chemtech Drakes apiece, but ultimately it is the soul that has been acquired. Let's run it back on this replay, because this is just wonderful.
Yeah, so initial engage onto Tide. I feel like it's okay. It does kind of chunk him out of the fight. It's difficult for him to do much. I think YJY does get hit here by the Scion, but pay attention to the Gwen TP. I mean, she comes in and deals an absurd amount of damage in such a short amount of time, but also just explodes. Like, really just doesn't take long. As soon as the members are hitting her, disappears in just a moment. And then, yeah, off the back end, there's no real engage tools left, so both teams are kind of left just staring at each other. I think Hong2 should have committed to the base, and maybe Hellpig should have just turned towards the Dragon. Hong2, I guess he showed him this ward up here. Just gets sniped off on the side. And yeah, that really should have been Hellpig's Dragon. They fumbled the end of it.
Maybe a little bit of greed, excitement, and adrenaline pumping through their veins as we approach the 40-minute mark in this game. This one may be the longest of the night, but it's certainly delivering with not the most kills, but I tell you what, tension from the very get-go here as the soul points being picked up. Now we're looking at a Baron which is exposed. If that's not taken, then it could be an Elder that delivers the fireworks.
Yeah, and I think one thing we haven't really brought up is the fact that S9, they only got their first win yesterday, and here they are potentially picking up 2 in a row.
Yeah.
It feel really, really good for them. They have the Chemtech drag, but is it going to be enough against the scaling of Hellpigs? Maybe when Gwen get a little bit tankier, they're actually potentially looking on the mid wave. All 10 members here. It's poised. Know that farming is kind of pointless at this point.
Maybe this is all part of their plan. They've got the Chemtech Soul, so now Gwen becomes even stronger, right? She wants to get low. She wants to take damage. You know, she wants to be a bit of a menace.
It could be the long game.
Yeah, it's all part of the big brain. We're just, not smart enough to understand their complexity. But we're all around the Baron. We're fighting for vision. We're staunching ourselves here by that pixel bush. Chain of Corruption goes out. Looking to try and find who they can. Taco forced to disengage away. A rocket jump to safety too. Going golden is Relia, who realizes, oh my god, the headbutt! And that makes it ever too easy for Tide to dish out damage untouched, unlooked at. As Sign will say, look boys, I'll finish it up. That's a feather storm for the ages. Oh, but ultimately it's Calumnia that could actually play cleanup crew here and could actually salvage the fight, but cannot find that extra reset. Now a TP comes in at a late game. Caston says, you couldn't kill me in lane and you can't kill me now. I'm coming for you.
Yeah. Wow, I think Calumnia did 11,000 damage in that team fight, so definitely no slouch on the late game Tristana, but Hellpigs pick up the fight, and I think they might be able to end off this. It looks like Fia will be up soon. I mean, look at that damage chart. Both the mid laners putting in some ridiculous amount of work.
Oh, late game carries with all the damage, with all the scaling. You love to see it, but really only one can survive to tell the tale, which is we're not ending the game just yet. The respawn time is just so long, but let's start it off again here.
Yeah, so I'm not even sure what happened this game. I think Rel here took a lot of damage for free kind of at the start, and also did just end up getting picked off on the side, but Calumnia did a great job of salvaging this fight. I think at this point when Rel here was very low engaged on, it looked rough, but Calumnia just continually putting out the orders, kiting back, and also doing a great job of spacing the Kassadin. Just ends up like free hitting basically the entire fight. And at this point, it looks very scary, but Calumnia, really good usage of the ult there to push Xayah out while he DPSs the other members. I honestly think Calumnia kind of 1v9 that fight.
And so many minute moments there, which, you'd need to watch back in 0.5 speed, where, you're flashing away from a pre-positioned arrow to kill Hong2, who then comes back in with the TP, with the stopwatch on the initial assault and battery. I mean, so many micro outplays to try and find an advantage, but ultimately it came down to those two mid laners looking to try and showcase who is the best. And, well, we have officially crested over the 40-minute mark. The tension continues to rise.
It does. 1 minute 40 left on the Elder. Another engage coming out, IC8. He's taking a lot of damage. Verisol was used.
Certainly has been. Relia jumping in, looking to try and take out Tide. They're on him. Cyclone's there, locking him up in the back line with the clone also active. Tarka goes to the afterlife. Hong2 goes golden. YJA untouched across the wall, but it's a fight on two separate occasions. Fire trying to get the kill, forcing out the GA there from Tide. At this stage, everybody is immunity stasis effect And really now it's a case of how long these tanks can live as they soak up the world and more. He's flashing away, but that's a Tristana jumping on his head. Look at the stone plate shield just evaporate. It does not matter. Oh, tanks just don't exist at this point in the game.
Yeah, Calumnia is really padding the damage stats on this Scion. You can just farm him forever, and actually they're turning towards the Baron, but their health bars are low. Hong 2 is not here, though. I think S9 are probably going to get this, but Elder remains a different story.
Yeah, Elder in 30 seconds. What do Hellpigs do? They bank their game in a 1v9 situation like this. It would seem so tragic to lose it in that fashion, so no.
Yeah, okay, so it's going to come down to this Elder. Both teams will be fully reset by then. Now, Taco isn't actually up for another 5 seconds after this dragon spawns, but does have the TP. Now, let's take a look at this replay. I feel like I actually have no real clue what happened in this fight. There was just
the last few fights have been that way.
So much happening in this fight, but let's have a look at Columbia. I feel like the engage to start with is pretty good. And then, yeah, really nice flank from Rally. I'm not actually sure what went wrong. I guess Hong 2 just found another ton of damage in the backline. Yeah, it looks like it was just zoning out. Pretty much like 4 members on the backline. And then, yeah, just so much damage coming. But hold on.
Oh, we're back into it. Uh-oh. Instant drive away. Not taking any chances. They know that this next team fight, or this next major moment, decides the entirety of this game. 42 minutes have built up to this moment right here. Everybody, bar our supports, are soon to be level 18. Okay, maybe the junglers too, but they've got that smite maxed out and ready to do 1200 damage. Vision paramount. Angles even more so. And the Elder down to 50%, but it's all about finding that target selection as they jump on in. Targo goes golden, Targo gets knocked up with the wild growth. The Elder's been reset. Kerry's is zoned away. Targo continues to go forward, the shield is there, the shield is gone, Hong 2's forced to disengage away. YJ Way gets a double kill, and the virus gets to live for once alive. Oh my god, Tide is dead! As soon as he came landing on down, he's gone! And S9 with an early game comp that didn't find an early game lead are beating the scaling comp.
Oh, but actually, Hong 2, can he 1v4 this? I don't feel like he can, but he's going to try.
He has to. He has to be a hero. The chain of corruption goes wide. Oh my god, it was low.
Wow. I mean, S9, they're potentially picking up their second win of the season, and actually, they might be, if they win this game, the team on the longest win streak, which would be funny to think about.
Well, the longest game before tonight was 48 minutes. That was SEM9 and BYG last night. So they're just basically saying this week, only bangers.
Only bangers indeed. Now with the Baron and the Elder, surely S9 can get it done. Although Columbia's not here, it's going to clear out the mid wave and then probably will look to TP. Or perhaps we'll... Okay, yeah, so the TP is committed. I think they try and end off this. This inhib is being sieged down.
Surely at this point, Shock, you have to win. You've got every buff in the game. Chemtech Soul, you got Baron, you got Elder. If you can't win here, something has gone terribly wrong.
Yeah, they're sieging. I don't think that... Oh, they're trying to find an angle in. One tower goes down. They have so many creeps.
Redemption, heal, shield, in jump Stein. He's completely missed the target. No, he's caught Tristana. Mid-air, dashing away. The execution is good. Hong 2 receives the wild growth, but forced to run away. YJY finds 2. Answered back by a second there by Calumnia. And I mean, I don't know if he had the luxury to wait out the Elder. They're waiting for the next minion wave. They are all in on this play.
Yeah, I think S9, I believe they've done it unless Hong 2 can pull something crazy out of the hat.
He's jumping in again. Tide's found one. He goes golden. Calumnia's still there. Tide jumps in with a Gale Force. It's not enough. The Hex Drinker's shield is good. Hong 2 is so low. One auto attack and he will die. Keres is juicy. Keres is dead. It's lethal. But Calumnia, 2 attacks and it's over.
Yeah, there's no creeps, but I think they will still be able to end. The creeps are here soon and Hong 2 on his lonesome. Won't be able to do it. I think S9 after 45 minutes probably will have finally done it here. And yeah, they're just going to hit the Nexus. Hong 2, he's trying to do what he can, but it's just shot. Wow. What a game. Also, in that last fight, Columbia, again, 12,700 damage. I can't wait to see what the damage charts say, because I feel like we're getting pretty close to 100,000 potentially. You know, maybe 60 or 70.
Well,
I guess it's not that close.
Did we not say that the last